Well, hello, my fellow car modelers. How are you doing today? I wanted to try a little experiment out. I've wanted to do this for quite a while. And, well, you know, nothing like an experiment to get some good videos out there. So we're going to do some dressing up of some classic centerline style or super trick style old drag wheels. And I like to get a little more of that polished aluminum look and with a little bit of detail from panel liner and stuff. And well, we gotta see if this works out. I have a lot in the past. I really love that look of the centerline / super tricks, that solid wheel look, and I love it on my drag cars. And I like to build my drag cars lots of times in that late 70s, early 80s time period, a lot of my stock type cars. And I'm going to be getting on to the USAC build finally, and we'll be seeing a video on that here real shortly. And that's the kind of wheels and that's the kind of look I'm going for with that car. But we'll fill you in on that when I do that video. But for right now, there's something I had always been thinking about. When I've done these in the past, I usually, you know, shoot a flat clear on the chrome, and it gives me that dull, you know, look that the wheels had back in those days, you know, the turned aluminum or spun aluminum, however they would call it. And I just always loved that look. I don't like these type of wheels, this chromey. So I would always just blast them with some dull coat, and it looked fine, everything. But I always wanted to kind of dress it up with a little shadowing, you know, so you could see them better, that they're not just this, they kind of almost turn into a white blob. And, you know, you look at what the cars look like. They kind of had that look, but you look at the cars back then, and there's some shading and shadowing, especially around those rivets and everything. So anytime I would ever shoot some clear on there, I would then use the panel liner on there to kind of give them that shading look. The panel liner would run the clear away, and then the chrome would start showing through, and that wouldn't be good. And I tried to do panel liner first, and there would be a reaction with the dull coats that I used. They were usually always a lacquer base. So I was mulling around Andy's Hobby headquarters, and I found Mr. Hobby has this water-based top coat. Got the matte finish, and I just got to thinking, I wonder if this water base would work good for doing this. So, you know, let's try it out. I'm gonna shake it up. You can see I haven't even tried it yet. I've probably bought this a year ago. It's been a while since I, you know, had the idea and haven't done it yet. So, and let's shake this up. We're gonna go ahead and we're going to do a little bit of shading with the panel liner. Now, what I think we'll try is I'm going to do the panel liner first, and then we're going to dull coat it, and maybe we'll do the opposite on that. We'll see. Or maybe we'll just dull coat it and see what it looks like without. But I'm just going to touch some of the areas, just get some shading happening. Usually like to get it around those rivets and around, you know, the center a bit. It looks really kind of, when you first put it on there, like a lot. But once this stuff dries, it kind of fades away. Yeah, what the heck, we'll hit all them areas too. So we're going to have to let this dry a bit. Take a look at that. See what we got going here. You can kind of see the difference, the shading. And already it dulls it down a little bit with that panel liner. So we're going to let this dry and come back, and we're going to shoot the water-based matte top coat on there. So we'll be right back.
You're watching the Luka C channel on YouTube.
It's been actually a couple of hours, so this should be nice and set up. You can see the difference between the two. And so that's all the panel lining we're going to be. You can see it kind of tones down a bit. Just a little bit of shadowing there. And we'll get this stuff. Let me pop this all open. It's fresh can. I've never used this water-based stuff before, so we're looking forward to trying it out. So I've got a model box lid right here that I'm just going to use so I don't get overspray all over the place on these two wheels. Let me do a little bit of tape right here so they kind of like don't get blown all over the place. Not the greatest way of doing things, but this will get us our look. So I'm gonna see how that goes on there. I have to turn it around a bit to get the other sides of them. A lot comes out, so we'll see how it turns out. So we're going to have to let that sit and dry, and we'll see how it looks. But so far, we see how it's going. You don't want too much on there, but it's still showing its chrome through there. So we've got to let this sit, set up, dry, and dull out, and we'll see what it looks like, and I'll let you know how long it takes.
What the heck?
We went ahead and let it sit for about an hour, so let's take a look and see what we got here. And well, it's not really giving me the effect of flattening that a lot of the other flats do for me. It did take some of the shine out, but it still looks a little too chrome for me. But it didn't seem to affect putting the panel liner in there. Didn't run it all over the place, so it worked good for the panel liner, but I just don't feel like it's giving me the dullness I'm looking for that I usually like when I shoot over chrome. Here is a couple of wheels from that same chrome tree, and you can, I don't know if you can tell the difference between, let's see if we can get in the, you can see how chrome these two rear wheels are, the fronts that I did. This is the one without the panel liner on it. So, still a little too chrome. And I even shot another coat on it after the coat that I did while we were filming. So, it got a couple coats on and let it sit probably a good hour. And, I am not really thrilled with this dull coat. I gotta be honest. It worked well again with what I was hoping it would do, not smear the panel liner. It doesn't seem to react with that panel liner. That's a good thing, but it just doesn't seem to dull the way I really like it to dull. Like the dull coats that I really used to love, believe it or not, coming from me, was the old Tester's dull coat. Man, I love that stuff. It did the best shooting over chrome. And to me, as dull coat has done well for me in the past too. Not a fan of this too much. Just doesn't seem to dull it up. Knocks a little bit of the chrome off there, but not getting the look that I'm looking for. So there we go. That's it. It's an experiment, not total failure, but not 100% pleased with it. But now we know. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you got something out of it. That's why we do these things. Cool little experiment. I'll probably use this try this on some other stuff. I don't know. I don't use a lot of dull coat. I usually use dull coat just to dull down chrome. I don't use dull coats for too many things. I got a lot of this. It might, I don't know, we might find a use for it. If anybody else has used this water base, if they've, actually I'd like to know how the water base glossy clear would look. If anybody's used this, let me know. But here pretty soon, I have had this one for a while. We're going to have to give this a try. I know Jim Drew has had a lot of success with this. This stuff is hard to get a hold of though. But I'm hoping to try this out soon. Well, always in search for that perfect clear coat. Don't know, but I even have a fresh can of good old TS13. But this is the clear. I am out of the flat. So, as we say, thank you all for watching. Why do we mess around with this stuff and try to dull out chrome on model cars? Why do we even build model cars? Well, that's easy, because they're fun. Here's the producers.